Hey everybody, this is Darren Spader again with the Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Mike Lefkow. Mike, we've reached that stage in the season. We're a little bit behind, but we've reached that stage where we are coming to an end of the section playoffs. In the CCS, we have a bunch of championship games this weekend. In the NCS, we have one championship game this weekend. And we'll start by talking about that game, which is De La Salle, ranked number one, obviously, in our top 25. Which we haven't done in a while.
No.
And they will be going up against second-ranked and undefeated Liberty, a matchup of 11-0 teams. They will be going at it on Saturday night at Dublin High. De La Salle going for its 27th consecutive NCS championship. Also, it would be De La Salle's 300th game, which it has not lost against teams north of the Fresno area. They're at 299 right now. We were out at De La Salle this afternoon. I covered Liberty on Saturday night. Cal Prep's predicting a 2-touchdown game, which would be one of the closest NCS championship games involving De La Salle over the last 27 years. How does Liberty make it closer and pull off a stunner?
Well, Liberty would have to play almost the perfect game, and
Almost or perfect?
well, I don't think you ever play a perfect game in football, so almost the perfect game. And De La Salle would probably have to make a couple of mistakes that you would not expect them to make.
Right.
It's going to be a very difficult task for Liberty to pull this one off.
As great as Liberty has been this season, De La Salle, in the few years that I've been doing this here on the East Bay side, it's the best De La Salle team I've seen in the last couple of years, for sure. But you say it even goes back even further.
Well, this is the best De La Salle defensive team I've seen probably ever, and I go back to when Bob Ladouceur arrived as coach.
Okay,
is it the best team De La Salle has ever had? I mean, you'd have to sit down and look over the teams and see, but this is a really good De La Salle team.
And they shored up their secondary, which was a killer against some of those teams from Southern California, and now they're going to be going up against Jay Butterfield, whom Coach Ryan Partridge over at Liberty says, I think he says he's the best quarterback in the country. I think I've heard him say that a couple times.
Jay Butterfield's a very good quarterback. I mean, he's got some very good players to work with. Sione Vaki is a great receiver. Tyler Sturgis-Kofer is a very good running back. You might look and compare him to Ron Rivers at Freedom a couple years ago. They've got a lot of talent. And the thing about Liberty is they are a very well-coached team. They're
incredibly well-coached.
Right. I mean, they're as good a coaching staff as I think you have in the East Bay. But De La Salle is also a very well-coached team. So the thing is, yeah, Liberty could beat De La Salle. But will they beat De La Salle? It would be a stunning upset if they do.
Yeah. Stunning, shocking, everything. Any adjective you can find, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing is that I would not go out and say that De La Salle is going to beat Liberty 45-0. I think it's going to be 2 touchdowns, might sound about right.
35-14.
17-24 points. Okay, let me put it this way.
Okay.
If Liberty were to jump out 14-0 lead in the first quarter, then I would say, well, maybe we're going to get that upset. But I think if Liberty...
No chance of the comeback, huh?
If Liberty only leads 7-0 after the first quarter, and that would not surprise me, De La Salle will come back. I mean, even Partridge spoke himself about, the first quarter is always going to be the quarter that's interesting. That's where your execution problems could be, maybe a key mistake. But by the second quarter, it's football.
Let's switch gears. CCS. They've got championship games this weekend in all of their divisions. And we'll start with the open divisions, the 3 open divisions which send their 3 champions to the regionals as well as 2 of the 3 runners-up. And this is all based, the runners-up move on based on CCS PowerPoints that are determined before the playoffs. So Cal Preps is projecting some really close games. I'm looking forward to pretty much all of them. I mean, you look at Open Division 1, Friday night, Wilcox, undefeated, 12-0, with that win over Valley Christian to open its season, going up against Menlo Atherton, a team that had high expectations all year, and is coming in here red hot at 10-2, coming off a win over Palo Alto. And Cal Preps projects 21-20 for Wilcox. That should be a heck of a game.
Oh yeah, that game is, in my mind, it's a toss-up.
Physical. It's going to be, don't lose your composure. The fewest mistakes are going to win this game.
Right.
Wilcox can move the ball with that option offense that they run, but they can't get into a street fight out there. And same with MA. You lose your cool on the lines, or 15-yard penalty here, 15-yard penalty there, and that could turn the game around.
Well, Menlo Atherton has a lot of good athletes. They might not have the 5-star athlete, but they've got a lot of talent on that team. And
they got the linebacker Daniel Humile.
Who's been offered by 22 or something schools.
The nose tackle, phenomenal, going to UW. That school purple that you like.
Yeah, I mean they're talented. I like this.
Troy Franklin, the receiver.
That's right. I like this MA team, and I kind of think they're going to win that game, but
they're going to spoil Wilcox's perfect season.
I think MA.
St. Francis, which is probably the best team in the CCS. I mean, I would think only lost to De La Salle.
Right.
It was they will be going up against Valley Christian. The first time these teams met during league play, St. Francis won 7-3. Clinching the win with an interception in the end zone, I believe, in the final minute. They won that game 7-3. I looked at the defensive numbers. I mean, St. Francis has given up 96 points all season. Valley Christian, 99. What do you think? Do you think Valley now, coming into this game, knows that it doesn't have very much margin for error in terms of the regionals because of its power points in the CCS. It knows that it needs to win this game to guarantee, like everybody else. But if it were to lose and Aptos were to beat Sacred Heart Prep in Open Division 3, Sacred Heart Prep has more power points than Valley Christian and would get the regional berth.
Well, I mean, the thing is that I think both teams come in sky high for this game. Obviously, Valley Christian probably has more at stake because they could be eliminated. But the thing is if St. Francis goes out and wins a game, you're talking about the possibility or potential for a dream NorCal matchup of St. Francis versus Liberty or St. Francis versus Folsom. Yes. And, I mean, those kids would probably love to play in a game like that.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's the players. They want to play the best teams.
Right.
They don't sit there and think, well, if we lose, we could play a lesser team and still win a state championship. All they want to do is they want to go out and prove they're the best against whoever they're playing.
Oh, both teams are going to come in sky high. I remember last year St. Francis was in this game and lost a heartbreaker. I want to say it was by 1 point to Sarah, which was its second loss to Sarah. On the same field there at Independence, where they'll be on Saturday night. I'm hearing rain potentially in the forecast for this game. Can you imagine? I mean, it's not on natural turf, so we won't have mud or anything like that. But these defenses playing in the rain in a knock 'em, sock 'em type of game should be fun to watch.
It'll be fun to watch. You're going to see some hard hitting. And
both teams said they were extremely sore the next week after this game. I mean, Valley was beaten up after the St. Francis game, and the same with St. Francis.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a physical game, and it's going to be a tough game. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. But I think for St. Francis,
is this St. Francis's year?
I think it's St. Francis's year, yes.
In Open Division 3, Sacred Heart Prep, which has had a great season, great bounce-back year for Sacred Heart Prep under Mark Grebe, the former SaberCats quarterback. They will be going up against Aptos, which, if you want to talk about stunning results, and a Liberty win would be stunning over De La Salle, who saw Aptos beating Palma the way it did? I mean, an Aptos win would not have surprised anyone. But to be up 35-0 on the road at halftime, 49-0 after 3 quarters, and winning 49-6 to advance to the Open Division 3 championship game, beating the top seed on the road, a team they lost to by 5 points a month ago. How do you explain something like that?
Well, that's a wild game. Did it just snowball? You don't know in a game like that. I mean, were there a couple key players that were injured? I mean, who knows? I wasn't there. I didn't see the game. You read about it, but you don't really know exactly what happened. You kind of have to.
I know we're getting a little long, Mike. You've got a little piece of. Why do you have money? Why do you have money out, Mike?
We want the coin flip here.
Oh, that's right.
NCS
That's right. The NCS. Oh, yes.
Heads or
let's
tails?
hope Gil Lemon flips that a little better than you.
Well, I mean, hey.
Well, let's break this down here. So in Division 1, it doesn't appear. Well, obviously they won't have a need for a coin flip because they're going to play out Division 1 because the champion does not move on to a regional. It will be replaced by the runner-up in the Open Division, either Liberty or De La Salle. Now in Division 2, let's go by Cal Preps' predictions. They predict Campo Lindo to pull off an upset at Bishop O'Dowd, and they predict Rancho to win at Marin Catholic. No need for the coin there.
No need for
the coin there because Rancho beat Campo Lindo during the regular season. So Campo would be out, Rancho would move on. Division 3, Cal Preps projects Cardinal Newman to beat El Cerrito by 21 points, 35-14, and projects Eureka to end Las Lomas' perfect season with a 31-20 win. So let's get out your coin, and now hold on. I will be, since Cardinal Newman I believe is the higher seed at 1, I'm sure they will get to pick heads or tails. Do you pick when you go in the air or before? I think you call it before, right?
No, I think you call it in the air, don't you?
No.
Don't they call these coins?
No. The referee holds his hands and he goes heads or tails, and then he flips the coin.
I'm almost certain. Well, we don't know, and we don't know what North Coast section is going to decide.
All right, I'll flip the coin.
Going to call it in the air? Or are they going to call it?
You call it in the air. You're Cardinal Newman. What do you pick?
Heads. I win.
Heads. Cardinal Newman
is going
on.
Kelseyville.
Legion.
All right.
All right, you're calling it for Kelseyville.
Tails. Look.
That's tails. Oh my goodness.
God.
Tails.
You know, I'm available for hire on Sunday for any of these teams that need somebody to call.
You want me to do the flipping too?
Sure. Well, you know, I think NCS Commissioner Gil Lemon wants to do the flipping.
Right.
But
if they even have flipping, because we did discuss some other options.
Well, yeah, there are other options.
They've sent emails out to all 16 teams that would be potentially affected by the coin flip or the head-to-head situation or playing out the section playoffs. So they're kind of getting a feel for it, and it's kind of a fluid situation, and they'll know more later this week. There is a potential that these teams could play out their section playoffs and then have some sort of bowl games.
That's what Lemon was talking about, was like Division I champion would play the Division II champion.
Something like that.
And the Division III champion would play the Division IV champion.
I don't think we ever got that deep into Division III or 4. I think we talked 1 and 2. So stay tuned on that. But that coin flip was heartbreaking for Eureka, Del Norte, and Salesian, but very good for Cardinal Newman, Moreau Catholic, and Kelseyville.
You know, when somebody from Del Norte tells me that's how it's pronounced, I'll pronounce it Del Norte. Until then, it's Del Norte.
So Del Norte loses the coin flip to Moreau Catholic. We're going to talk about something else.
You were saying they're going to discuss the Big Bone game in the
your favorite, the Big Bone game, which I covered last week. It was as expected a complete rout for Lincoln, and afterwards, and in the story that we posted on the Mercury News and East Bay Times website, longtime Lincoln coach Kevin Collins said they would evaluate whether to keep this thing going on Thanksgiving, because obviously Lincoln qualified for the playoffs this year, but chose to keep his agreement to play San Jose on Thanksgiving, and won in terribly one-sided game, and now 21 in a row over San Jose. Hard to call that a rivalry, but we'll see. So stay tuned to see what they do with the Big Bone game.
Hopefully during the regular season next year, that would solve a lot of issues.
Sign up for the newsletter. You can sign up at mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Check out our coverage all week. And that is it. That's a wrap.
Okay.